And earlier this week, NCAA President Charlie Baker called for a ban on collegiate prop bets. In a statement, he says sports betting issues are on the rise across the country, with prop bets continuing to threaten the integrity and competition and leading to student athletes and professional athletes getting harassed. The NCAA has been working with states to deal with these threats, and many are responding by banning college prop bets. Now, T-Bob, there was a big story in the NBA, just to kind of continue off of this, with Raptors forward Jonte Porter. So he's being investigated for prop bets, really fishy, where there's an unbalanced amount of money going in on his unders for the prop bets. The dude checks into the game and then has an eye contusion and doesn't feel bad or feels a little off and checks out. And it's like, okay, this is a little sketchy. I look at prop bets. That has the biggest chance to erode the integrity game of all else. If we're going to embrace sports betting, prop bets have to be addressed. And I think about college kids and how vulnerable they are, T-Bob. Who's the type of person that wants to rig a prop bet? Probably someone that's dangerous. And they're going to come in there and talk to a college kid and say, listen, we got $100,000 for you right here. Just drop that pass in the fourth quarter so you hit your under. They pay $100,000 to the kid. They make $500 on the backside by juicing the books. Like, this is a potential scenario. I do think prop bets have to be addressed. We are embracing betting. We are there's no turning back now. But we have to think about how we do this forward, right?
We done embraced it. I'm so cynical about being able to reverse any part of these trends. Now, in terms of monetary incentive, maybe that's even if you're somebody who hates NIL, which I don't know why you would, but maybe that's one of the positives, right? There's less incentive for a player to accept that $100K deal if he's already making $100K. I think the harassment issue is very real, right? People showing up on your social media and saying, oh, you suck, I had this or that. But I think it's just like football players have been dealing with fantasy football for decades now, which is it just comes with the territory. And you're just going to have to deal with it. Yeah. And when you're talking about the lobbying power of the NCAA against the lobbying power of the gambling industry, I mean, that feels like, well, not David and Goliath, because David won. That feels like Goliath versus a baby, versus a tiny newborn child, like versus Josh's new baby. Yeah. It just, I don't feel like they stand a chance of winning this. So, look, I mean, like, bro, we have ESPN Bet.
Yep.
Now, is it kind of the lamest and last place that anybody would probably ever want to gamble? Yes. It's like I don't really understand it at all to begin with. But like ESPN, the place that pays to put on all of the games, now is running their own major book and trying to convince all of you to gamble with it. So it's I don't know that there's no going back. There's no putting the toothpaste back in the tube. Yeah.
At this point, man, we're it's like the opening of a roller coaster. Click, 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 click. Yeah. We're not even at the top anymore. We're now hurtling down full speed. There is literally no turning back. But you brought up some interesting points because the harassment is very interesting. It goes on in social media. It opens itself up to that anyways. Certainly fantasy football is a piece of this. But when you're talking about prop bets, right, and someone is betting their rent money on you to get plus 100 yards on the ground rushing or one reception touchdown and you drop it. This just lends itself to some serious issues, in my opinion. And if we are hurtling forward, we have to protect the athletes from themselves. When we're talking an 18 to a 22-year-old kid, we can't even put themselves in this situation. We shouldn't allow them to make the decision. We should stop this before it gets started. Have all the fun betting on themes of over, under, who's going to win the game. And I do think maybe, one solution I have here, one thing I've thought about. Look, if the sports books are going to be making all this money, and we saw that stat, bet $120 billion on sports last year. Can we take a percentage of that, since they're all in with all the sports league, and give it to the players, but in doing that, say there is a zero tolerance policy for you to even bet to begin with, but just to make sure that line is extremely clear that, look, we're embracing sports betting, but you guys better be damn sure that you're not even going to toe the line of rigging with lines.
Yeah, Stadium Nate says, I think it's fine, but people go offshore to make bets and then won't be regulated anymore. I mean, look, the deal is, Jake, I get what you're saying about the prop bets, but what if I have that over and you drop the touchdown? What if I've got Michigan minus 13 and you drop the touchdown that would put you up 14, right? Like, there are still going to be those use cases where if you're going to be an irresponsible gambler and you're going to bet the house and you're going to bet your rent money and you're going to be an addicted gambler, like, there's a reason why gambling was so contained in this country and so illegal for so long, is because those stories used to abound when it was more commonplace. However, like water, money finds a way. And it took way longer than anybody would have guessed, but gambling has now found a way back into the mainstream. And so I think players, I don't think Charlie Baker's going to be able to accomplish anything here. I think players are just going to have to deal with it. And I do like your idea, though, right? Because, in a perfect world, I think athletes should be allowed to gamble on sports they're not involved in. But I see how organizations would want to steer completely away from allowing that. So I believe that, a good faith move from the gambling, kind of ether from the hive mind would be to get back to players, get back to charities, right? All the same things that you normally do when you're talking about sin money, right? Like, you always see like tobacco and alcohol taxes going towards positive things, or lotteries and whatnot. Like, they can do the same thing here.